Hello and welcome to Zero Cool Gaming and today's anime review. Today we will be reviewing 5-Star Stories. I'm going to start with a couple of reviews and then I'm going to give you my views on it and tell you what I think. First review. Right now the market for English translations of manga is probably the hottest it's ever been. At any average Barnes & Noble or Borders, the amount of space dedicated to graphic novels, with the majority of those being manga or I can't pronounce that word, is easily in the dozens of feet. And big industry players like Marvel and Del Rey can't help but begin to notice the trend and try to capitalize in on it. Yet, one of the most unique manga titles available right now is virtually unknown, at best approaching the status of a legend, but more often just simply ignored. Born in 1960, Nagato was very much a part of the first generation of Japanese children that grew up immersed in anime and manga. He made his debut in the anime industry as a character designer for the 1983 TV series Heavy Metal L. Graham, and in 1986 set out on his own with five-star stories. The title was very successful, with the first 10 volumes selling in the total of over 5 million copies, but for various reasons was never made available in English until now. Uh, Toys Press Inc., a highly unusual step, took a highly unusual step and decided to enter the U.S. manga market on its own without going through any of the existing English language publishers. The first volume of 5-Star Stories was released in October of 2002 in a unique large format with a price of $9.98 for each volume. So the question then becomes, just what is 5-Star Stories? As the title suggests, the storyline revolves around the various political, military, and social interactions within a galaxy, and specifically 5-star systems within that galaxy that have 6 inhabitable planets. More so than most other manga, it draws on two Western traditions, that of future history and of the realist novel of the 19th century. Development for thousands of years from a given start point, this story illustrates both the everyday and the truly enormous events over a span of 1,000 years. A timeline is usually present somewhere, and similarly here, each volume includes a timeline that easily covers 1,000 years subjectively, as experienced by one of the main characters. The connection to the realist novel, War and Peace, and the writings of Victor Hugo, for example, is evident in Nagato's desire to show all the many and various sides of the galaxy at war. Although the single paragraph preface to each volume describes it as the tale of the God of Light and his wife, the emphasis really is on the world surrounding them. Okay, so this particular show is just one, I call it a movie. I've never looked at anime as being, a series of cartoons or made for children. I've always looked at anime as a medium. Now, a medium could be live action, it could be anime, it could be clay, it can be puppets. A medium is just that. It's a medium that you use to tell your story. So I never looked at anime as being for children. I always looked at it as, is this a movie for adults? Is this a movie for teenagers? Is this a movie for kids? Same thing with anime shows. Or is this a show for adults? Is this a show for teenagers? Is this a show for kids? I never tried to pocket hole anime as this is designed for children. While though here in the US, people look at cartoons and say, okay, cartoons are for kids. Well, even here in the US, there are cartoons that are not for kids. And there's several of them. And people, either they don't know about them, never watched them, or just assume that it was a kid's show regardless. I'm not saying that we have a lot of adult entertainment in that respect that is done in cartoon format, but it does exist. And this particular story is, I would call this a rated R movie. Um, it covers some pretty deep topics, and they're pretty liberal with their drawing and the violence. So yeah, I would call this your average rated R movie as far as a rating would go. This particular movie is a prequel to the story, and one of the downsides to this movie is that if you have no understanding of what the story is about and what's going on outside of what the movie shows you, it's relatively difficult to understand. But in truth, with just the review that I've read, you now have enough outside information as to what's going on that the movie itself will make sense to you. Um, and it's not a bad movie. This really isn't. I mean, it's an older show, sure. I mean, it's pretty old. Let's see if I can see when this thing came out. 5-star story, 66 minutes long. It's given a rating of PG-13 for graphic violence, adult themes, and brief nudity. Um, do 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 do. It doesn't say what year it was released, but the first review for it was 1996. See if this next one can tell me when this was actually released. No, it cannot. So it was released in the 80s and 90s, is what I'm going to guess. Considering that he didn't even start writing the stories until 86. So yeah, sometime after 86, between 1986 and 1996, somewhere between there, this movie was made. um, Basically, what this show is giving you is a okay, how do I explain this? Okay, there's giant mechs in this movie, and to fly these giant mechs, you need basically two pilots. One of those pilots has to be a particular type of android or a particular species. Um, a doctor on this kind of a backwaters planet, but I guess he was like a really, you know, high-end Genesis, whatever type of doctor, figured out a way to combine that alien species with computer tech and human DNA to create a female co-pilot for these giant mechs. It's very, this type of process was considered taboo, to say the least, and that's kind of what this prequel goes over, is the taboo nature of what he's created, and then the story, fans out from that. The anime movie itself, it's a very well done movie. It's very quick. I mean, there's not a whole lot of storyline to be had here because there's a lot that's trying to be shoved down your throat very quickly, so that you can get an idea of what this is. I think they could have done a better job of doing that had they stretched the movie out a little more. I mean, 66 minutes isn't long. I would have gladly watched a movie twice that, or even three times that, to expand the story and really give the viewer an understanding of this universe. Regardless, they didn't do a bad job. Assuming that you know a little bit about five-star stories to begin with, the movie will make sense. Otherwise, it's just an action flick of giant mechs. Actually, the beginning of it isn't even about giant mechs. It's about kidnapping and crime and corruption. And then, like, the last 10 minutes? We'll say 15. Last 15 minutes is giant mechs. Yeah, not a lot of cool mechs in, well, the series has a lot of cool mechs. I mean, I really like the graphic novels of this story. I haven't read all of them. I've got 1 through 11, and I guess there's 23. I don't know if they've made the rest of them or if they're still, creating them. I haven't really looked into it in a few years to find out. But the first 11 books were really good. I was really happy with the different, types of mechs and their fighting styles and the politics around each planet and the corruption. And it's just a good story. It's a good drama, and I like a good drama. So my review of five-star stories is it's a good action movie if you're just looking for an action movie. It does fall apart when it comes to trying to truly relay the big story behind it. And other than that, it's still worth a watch. It's enjoyable. And if you've read a couple of the books and then watch this, it's a really good movie because you truly catch all the little things within it. Because there's quite a few little things within it that you're not gonna catch unless you've read a few of the books. Um, okay, well that's my review for the day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.